Our Three Tech Pod best bets roll on again for another edition. You guys love them, and you've been following along, hopefully, with our financial advice. Because man, we might have made you some money last year. Although we do have to, of course, declare that this is not financial advice, no matter how much you might want that to be so. But we've got two more best bets for you here tonight. Garrett, you are in the SEC taking an over 9.5 win total on a team that has been trending in the right direction.
And normally you wouldn't want to say that an over 9.5 is a best bet. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and try to make that case. It's Missouri. I think the Mizzou Tigers are going to, I think, definitely hit that over. And I think one of the things that you've heard us say multiple times is schedule matters. And I think this team has a beautiful blend of schedule and a great team. So obviously, look, huge season last year, right? 11-2, massive statement, beating a depleted but a still very talented Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. And that was a huge season for them. Can't take anything away from them. They finished really, really well. And by the way, finished top 30 in both total offense and total defense. So not a random occurrence. It wasn't just one player being the star. It wasn't just, you know, a really good facet of the game or a good coordinator. This was an entire team effort, a really well coached team, and players that overall just got along together. There's certainly stars on the team, and you're going to see him again this year, right? Brady Cook's still a stud. He's going to take a big step forward, to pass for over 3,000 yards this last season. I think he's going to make a step forward, be one of the better quarterbacks. And Luther Burden, man, I've been saying his name since day one on this podcast. Luther Burden's one of my favorite players in all of college football, and I think he's going to continue to break out. I wanted to pick him as a breakout candidate for one of our previous breakout, but that's not fair. He's already broken out, man. He's already
Yeah.
there. But as much as a already broken out player can break out, that's going to be Luther Burden this year. I think there's a good chance he could end the season as one of the best wide receivers in all of college football, if not taking over that top spot. But look, this is all, fine and well. They had a good portal haul. They had some good defensive players they brought in from the portal. Yeah, they lost some guys. That's going to be college football, right? You're going to lose some guys. You're going to get some guys. I like what they brought in on the defensive side. You're going to have to replace some skill position guys. That's everything. But once again, this is all about schedule. This is not about just what your team is. It's about who your team plays. The schedule is set up so nicely. They have an easy open. Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, Vandy. They should walk straight through that, no problems, and get right back in shape. They have a bye week, and then their first road game is at Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M should be better. Mike Elko should have those boys a lot better. That is still a talented roster, but I think Missouri is still the better team right now. Road games can always be weird. How do they respond? Are there injuries? Right? There's all sorts of things that could happen. But I think right now it'll still be early in the season for A&M. Still be figuring out some stuff. I think A&M takes their lump early on for Missouri in that one, and then it kind of evens out a little bit. You get UMass on the road. Shout out going up to Amherst for that one. I think that's a good move from Missouri going on the road to go play UMass. And then Auburn, and then you finally play Alabama, right? That's kind of your first, I think, big test of the season. You go to Alabama. I'm not going to pick them to win that game right now. I think that's probably a loss. Could they be better? Sure, they could be better than Alabama. We still don't know what Kalen DeBoer is going to do at Alabama. They did lose a lot of talent. But as long as you're bringing back some of your studs and, Jalen Milrose on that roster, I'm going to take Alabama at home. But then they get a much needed bye, right? So maybe they got their one loss, then they hit their bye week. Here's what they got coming out of the bye: Oklahoma at home, at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, home against Arkansas. I mean, find me 3 losses on this schedule. I got 1 probably and 2 maybes. I think you got a probably loses to Bama and maybe loses to Oklahoma and A&M. But right now, I think I'd pick Missouri in both those games. And so, when I'm looking at this, I'm saying 11-1 seems very on the table. Obviously, maybe they win a game they shouldn't, maybe they lose a game that they shouldn't, but all that's going to even out to, I think, over 9.5. This is a really good setup for Missouri. I think they're a dark horse playoff contender if they finish 11-1. Let me roll with Drink and Co. I think this is a good group, a good coaching staff. I'm all in on the bandwagon for the Missouri Tigers this season, man. I'm excited to see what they can do.
They've got a lot of returning production. That offense is going to be fun. The defense was so much better last year than it had been. I mean, the defense had been disgusting to watch the first couple of years under Drinkwitz, and then they take that big jump. I think it's a great bet. They do have one of the easier schedules in the SEC, and that matters so much.
Hmm.
Biggest glaring concern for me, quite honestly, is that bye week comes way late in the season,
Yeah.
right? So, what, like you mentioned, what do the injuries look like? How's the gas in the tank, right? Are we kind of crawling to the finish line? Maybe so, but I think Missouri has as good of a chance of going 10 plus wins as any team in the country. I'll say
Well,
that.
and yeah, the good news too is they do have the 2 bye weeks. They get a bye week right before they go to A&M, and then a bye week right between Bama and OU. So, like, it's, you're not really getting much of a bye when the hardest team you play in the first quarter or third of your season is what, maybe Boston College or Vanderbilt. Y'all do a
Right.
toss up for that one. I have no interest in watching those 2 teams play on a football field, but you get those kind of 4 in the middle. I think is going to be their kind of key stretch there at A&M. They do play Auburn at home. They do go to Alabama. That's a couple of tough road games. Not to discount at UMass by any means, but a couple of tough road games in that stretch. Not a lot of time at home. That's kind of a place where a college team could kind of lose their rhythm. Not playing in front of your home fans very much could kind of get into a weird funk, but that means they got to start losing, and I don't think they lose until Alabama.
I like it. I like it. Tigers are building something special.
Gracious him. How about that?